The Super Sons are now lost in space and time in the adventures of the Super Sons. When we last left off in the adventures of the Super Sons, John was split into two, Red and Blue, while Damian was battling Joker Jr. and Rex Luthor. But these aren't the true children of the villains of Earth. These are aliens who idolized the villains of Earth and wanted to mimic them. Their battle took them out into space, where John and Damian were able to break free and meet up with Space Cabbie, who asked if they wanted a ride home. This is Comicstorian. We take comic books and turn them into audio dramas for you to enjoy. The point of all of this is to allow you to know what's going on in the world of comics and add things to your collection at your local comic book store or your digital retailer. We make two main types of videos: complete stories that are 2 to 3 issues of an arc, containing whatever I put into the title, and full stories that are the entire arc, normally 6 to 50 issues, and a collection of our shorter videos. Today we're going to be looking at Adventures of the Super Sons 4, 5, and 6, continuing the story of another one of the summer vacation adventures of John and Damian. Red quickly picks up Blue, asking, "Is that a taxi?" John jumps on, telling him to shut up and get into the space taxi or we're all dead. Rex asks, how is Joker Jr. alive? And Space Cabbie begins to state that they must be friends of the Clown Kid. "So where are you guys headed?" Damian tells him to just drive, you fool. The taxi takes off and Ice Princess asks what is the plan now. Rex Luthor jumps back down into the wreckage, stating that there's no need to spend days chasing around children who have no idea how to get home. While capturing Robin and Superboy was a happy side effect of the alien villain's trip to the Earth. Let's remember what we're all really here for: the hypercube. Later, 18 million miles away, the space taxi keeps jumping in and out of hyperdrive while Damian tries to keep control of the wheel, yelling at JJ, which is Joker Jr., telling him that he will tear him apart while Blue is busy vomiting all over the place. Joker Jr. yells, "I saved you! I didn't have to do that!" And Red pushes Damian back, telling him to calm down. One half of him is already throwing up. They gotta get their bearings and not act like maniacs. Damian takes a deep breath, looking at Joker Jr. "You know, it would have been great for you to have showed up before my friend was split into two. John, stop fighting with yourself!" Damian grabs Red and begins to smack his head into Blue, stating, "Can't you just, absorb each other or something?" Blue begins to yell, "Ow, that's not how this works, Damian!" Red then shoves Damian off, telling him, "Even though we are two halves, I can feel everything that you're doing to Blue, and right now, Blue is sacrificing himself by taking all of the pain for the two of us alone. What a hero." Damian scoffs, "Oh my god, Kent, you're such a goody two-shoes. You're inspiring yourself!" Space Cabbie begins to wipe the vomit off. "I would really love to get you guys some medical help, but we're way off the map. I might be able to triangulate where we're going as long as you don't." Suddenly, Blue begins to groan in pain, and as he does, he kicks the back of Space Cabbie's chair, sending him jumping in and out of hyperdrive, nearly running into Lobo and Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern. But the constant jumping sends the taxi off course, crashing it into a planet with Space Cabbie yelling, "Do you see what you did? You blew a neutron rod on the engine. I knew I should have never picked you two up." As everyone gets out, Space Cabbie looks under the hood, telling them, "Okay, that's just great. I can see the theoretical particle leak from here." Damian holds up Red and Blue, asking how long is this going to take. His friend are sick. Space Cabbie says that he's going to get to work. It'll take as long as it takes. It's not rocket science. Clown Boy here is gonna help me. Since you're the reason why we're even in this mess to begin with, Joker Jr., you three can head over to that house over on the hill and see if you can find a communicator so that I can call dispatch. And if we're lucky, we might have some kind of a machine that'll put your friends back together." Damian looks up. "That doesn't sound like a good idea. Maybe I should go alone." But Blue tells him that there's no way that him and Red are going to let Damian go alone. "We gotta protect each other." Red decides to chime in. "Blue is right. We're in this together. It's what heroes do, Damian." So Red gives a thumbs up, and Blue gives him one back. "You're such an inspiration." Damian scoffs as they begin to walk towards the abandoned-looking building. But as they walk, Damian says, "Okay, so it was red kryptonite, right? That's some kind of fake version? Your father's secret league file says that stuff like this wears off eventually. Your dad dealt with this sort of thing before." "Maybe. But if it's artificial red K, who knows what the rules are?" "Well, we have to get you guys back together. There's no way the universe can deal with two John Kents." As the three of them reach the top, they look down to try and wave to JJ, and Space Cabbie says that they made it. But with their backs turned, they don't see the door to the home opening and several pairs of hands reaching for them and grabbing at them. A short while later, Space Cabbie says that this should get things up and running. He can at least get him and his buddies where they need to go. Can you still see your friends? JJ says, fortunately, no, and then kicks Space Cabbie into the trunk, slamming it shut. I did my good deed. The Earthlings are still breathing. If they want to save the universe from Rex Luthor, they're on their own. JJ sits in the taxicab's driver's seat and jumps off-world. But back up at the abandoned building, Damian turns on his light asking if they're still there. John says that he's there. And as the light shines on him, Damian says that this was a mistake. Can you guys get back up? I can, and I think I'm back together. What? Where's the other Superboy? John gets up checking himself. I don't know, but I'm all back together in one piece. I guess it wore off? Either that or it had something to do with whatever grabbed us. But if you're back together, use that supervision to find us a way out of here, John. As John activates his supervision, the lights turn on and a voice yells out, "No one leaves the house of secret mysteries." John begins to use his heat vision on the reaching hands. Guys, the house is talking! Of course it is. I wouldn't expect any less. The two begin to dodge the shadow hands until they make their way deeper into the house, and then all of the hands retreat and they hear voices out of the other room. Damian asks who is it, and the voice gets louder, and one asks, "Jonathan, are you all right?" And the other responds, "I'm fine, Damian. Hey, looks like we have a couple of visitors." Down at the foot of the stairs, two older versions of John and Damian stand there. Older Damian looking at them. "And who are you supposed to be?" I did not see this coming," the younger Damian says. As both pairs stare at each other, young John says, "Man, getting old sucks, huh?" And young Damian asks, "Are you really that gullible? There is no way that this is our future selves." "Never say never, Damian. Watch." He flies over to his older self asking him, "What's your favorite?" And before he could finish, the older John agrees with them, stating, Double chocolate in a cup with chocolate sprinkles on the bottom and the top." "Damian, it's really me!" "Got it. So older you eats like you're a 10-year-old. "Of course he guessed right." And John yells out, "Because he is 10! John pokes old John's round belly, stating that the real mystery is how this happened. And old John tells him that the truth is that his mom's cooking catches up with them after a few years. Both young and old Damian yell out, "Give it a rest!" And old John says, "Man, it's like looking into an angry mirror." Both Johns go back and forth about their favorite things, with old Damian asking how they even got here. The younger version explains, "We walked in after the house attacked us. Do you remember that because you're from the future?" And old Damian says he doesn't know. "We were just always here, waiting for a door." Just then a door materializes and the two run forward, and the younger and the older versions begin to declare where they're going. As they step through, they enter a white space of nothingness and the door slams shut behind them. Outside, old John asks if he's sure that he doesn't want to know about his first kiss. And young John yells out, "Ew, no way!" And old John tells him that it begins with an L. Suddenly there's a crash next to them as both young and old Damians slam into the ground, with younger John asking, "How did you get up there? You and Man Wonder ran through those doors and you came falling out of the roof." Damian looks up. See, there's no damage to the ceiling and the doors are also now gone. They go through a bizarre adventure in which they discover that nothing is real, but real at the same time. Flinging themselves out of the house, they begin to see the future that their older selves have led. They see that they had full families and full lives, and they realize that this was a chance for them to call their own shots, to not live in the shadows of their fathers. But knowing that none of this is truly real, younger John and Damian reject this future, waking up on an operating table. An alien named Kane sighs. "Self-awareness is such a tricky proposition. But the Wonder Machine does thrive on it, making impossible possible, requiring a sentience that feels want and need. That's you, by the way. You're the Wonder Machine, the beating heart of the center of this planet, pulling dreams out of the air and making them come just so nearly true. I am quite fortunate that both of you had landed here, that I was finally able to find permanent residents to give me sustenance, and I can do away with my artificial caretakers, figments of someone's imagination. John Kent, Damian Wayne. I will now make your dreams come true, forever." Inside of the machine, the older versions of John and Damian look at themselves, and John says that he's sorry, but the Wonder Machine only gives them their heart's desire. Damian realizes that they're trapped in a dream state, and the older version of John and Damian only exists because they were dreamed up, and there's nothing that they can do about it. So the two team up, because they realize that the only way out of this is to shatter the fake reality, and they burst through back into normal reality with Damian stating, "You never thought that your own creations would turn on you, did you?" Another alien, LaBelle, asks what's going on, and Kane asks, isn't it obvious? They've inspired themselves. Now they're going to destroy everything that the machine has built. Old John begins to tear the machine down. There's a whole lot of living ahead of you. And as the younger versions begin to wake up, John asks what's going on. The older versions tell them there's no time for questions. They need to go on and haul butt back to the surface. Leave this make-believe reality, this perfect world. Damian tries to save the older versions, but since they're just figments of their imagination that were created through this wonder machine, they realize they can't be saved. The older versions continue to battle against the two aliens as young John grabs young Damian and they burst out of the roof of the house just in time to avoid being caught in the blast as the house with the wonder machine and the dream reality implodes upon itself. And as the two return to the crater, they sit down and Damian asks if they should try to hang on to as much of what happened as they can, if only to feel better about their future, and that they shouldn't forget the most important lesson. John asks, what is that? And Damian pokes his stomach, telling him, "You better start watching what you eat." John laughs, stating that they got a bigger problem than his middle-aged waistline. Like, how the heck are they gonna get off this rock? Damian falls on his back. "Yeah, I don't know, but how about we figure that one out tomorrow?" As the night falls, Damian takes to the shadows to scout, and as he lands on a branch, John shouts, "Robin, would you please stop hunting the fruit?" After throwing a battering into a piece of fruit that John is holding, Damian says that he needs to stay vigilant, which means constant training. John says that he gets it, but he's very scared and they need to find themselves dinner on this strange planet. John tosses the broken fruit to Damian, who asks how they can be so sure that they can eat this, and what if he can track some sort of alien parasite. At that moment, a small monkey-like animal jumps out of the bushes, snatching Damian's fruit, yelling "hookah hookah." John chases after him, telling him, "Come on, there might be more!" So John follows the creature, and Damian follows John, and they reach a clearing in the woods and find a large monster ready to eat the small creature. John yells that they need to, but Damian tells him, "I know! Save the day! Just like we practice." John leaps in, punching the monster as Damian swings in, grabbing the creature. The monster turns back, hitting John, and Damian tells him to use his super yelling or something. "Really? I don't have that power." "It's a predator! Scare him! Howl back!" John turns over on his back, yelling, "John, Paul, George, Ringo! I came in like a wrecking ball! I'm Gumpy, darn it! Shazam!" The monster stares for a moment and then whispers as it runs off. "Oh crap, that worked! I'm gonna have to try that more often." He then looks over and sees Damian holding the small creature. "Look, I made a friend. Well, we should probably camp here for the night. I'll go make the fire." And as the two begin to fall asleep, they quickly wake up, as a voice tells them that they have 5 seconds before this mangy, diseased beast is killed. Damian jumps to his feet and John holds him back as Rex Luthor holds hookah. "Unless you want to trade, the two of you for one, whatever this is." Rex tosses the two power-dampening neck pieces. "You might be wondering how I found you. There was a big energy spike from the planet's core that you'd have to be blind to not see. Now put these on." As John and Damian put their collars on, John says that he better keep his promise, and Rex says to relax. The dampeners will not only scramble Superboy's powers, but they'll also immobilize their central nervous systems. So he'll have their complete attention and they can hear everything that's coming next. Their little escapade with Joker Jr. has caused him to push back his timeline, but as with many things, he is a master of improvisation. Once he delivers their bodies to their namesakes, they will start to take the gang seriously, and together they will rise up and take down the heroes in a bloody and brutal showdown. With the heroes dismembered and the villains united, he will strike and prove that he is much better at this than they ever hoped to be. So the bad news is that you're going to die. The good news is that you won't have to live to see your future. Neither of you will see this monkey dog thingy again either. But just before Rex Luthor could vaporize hookah, he's blasted in the back with a man wearing a bat belt, a ripped up Superman cape, and a Thangarian chest armor walks up. "Good girl. Good hunting. Now which one of these little punks blew up my wonder machine? Because you're gonna have to answer to Tommy tomorrow, and I'm one ticked off planeteer." Unable to talk, Damian and John begin to pull off their collars, and Tommy walks over stating that he hid the Wonder Machine on the outskirts of this sector for a reason. Now the beings that he stole it from are going to be coming here knowing that it's missing, and it'll take them 3 ticks to figure out who did it. He was trying to save the whole damned universe over here. He picks up John and Damian and tells Huka to bring the hairless one onto the ship. He knows just where to drop these delinquents off. As they get onto Tommy Tomorrow's ship, he opens up the hatch, tossing Rex into the hold with JJ, and he asks, "Yeah, you guys know each other, right?" Chrome-domed ditched his painted smiley friend just as he landed. Saw the whole thing. Damian continues to struggle and try to speak, but Tommy just tells him, attitude to spare. You're definitely from Earth. Later in Tommy's ship, Tommy says that he'll take off the vocal restrainers now, and hopefully, they'll have a good enough story. John explains everything that just happened, from their adventure of being kidnapped by the Junior League of Villains, how they ended up on the planet with the space cabbie, how they worked with the Wonder Machine, and then their older versions defeated the aliens. And Tommy says, "Alright, that's a nice story, and I'm a bit of a writer myself, but I know fantasy when I hear it. No way 2 children from Earth, of all the dungholes, managed to destroy one of the most powerful weapons in the universe in a day. Good news is you're going to have plenty of time to come up with new stories." This is Tommy Tomorrow. Helix code Twilight 1952. The voice over the comms says, "Copy that, Double T. What did you bring us this time?" Tommy tells them 2 kids, Terran, one genetically powered ultra class, the other is wound tight and sharp. The voice says, "Excellent. They'll be right at home on Tarkin Galados." Tommy explains that it's a whole planet that's a prison for criminals who think they can go around murdering people. You 2 kids are gonna love it. And that is the conclusion to Super Sons 4, 5, and 6. Now, 5 has a lot more going on. Honestly, I found it a little confusing to translate for you guys in this video what exactly was happening, but I tried to boil it down to let you know that they were basically stuck in their perfect world where they aged and got to be friends forever, and then those versions came out and freed them so that they could then go off and figure out what's going on. But the story's not over yet. We have 6 more issues of Adventures of Super Sons, and if you want to see more of this, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll be back with it next Monday for you guys to enjoy. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'll see you next time right here.